Coming to you from that box. In the middle of nowhere, it's around midnight. It's Mixified's The New Around Midnight. You know, I keep forgetting to call it that, The New Around Midnight. You got the local boys here. We're going to go in reverse order again just because I had so much fun doing that last night. We got Todd Fluker in the orange. We've got CJD in red. And, of course, myself, Joe Carbonetta, in blue. And
around midnight orange.
This
is apparently our signature color.
Indeed.
Orange? Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't think about that. You're right. And it's in signature orange. It is Todd Fluker tonight.
All of our break pages are in orange.
That's right.
All of our title cards are in orange. Cut.
Why did we choose orange anyway?
Because I like orange.
Oh, is that what it was? You
Cut.
Okay. All right. We are live for Friday, August the 18th. And it is 10 p.m. somewhere in the country.
Tijuana
somewhere
time
in the
zone.
world. You just had to do the time zone thing, huh?
Time zone check.
We hadn't covered time zones in the last week's show, and you wanted to make sure we got back into that. Okay, good on you there, Todd.
We just got to be sure that people understand.
We are live. Don't forget to give us a call, 951-356-6882. Once again, that is 951-356-6882. Or you can reach us on the internets. Go ahead there, Todd.
How come you always sound like you're constipated when you're talking? You should breathe.
And you should start trying to be in the 21st century. Stop calling it the internet.
I do that on purpose.
Yeah. You can hit us on Facebook at facebook.com/Mixified Radio. You can tweet us at Mixified. Or go ahead and snail email us. Mixified@gmail.com.
Yeah, Joe's the only one who's going to check that. If you send it any other way, he might not get it.
That could be. Of course, don't bother sending it to Chevelle anyway, because he won't get it at all. He just doesn't check
I'll
any
get
of
it.
the
I just will ignore it.
You just ignore it? Okay.
Gmail's super annoying anyway, right? Every time anyone logs into a Gmail account anywhere, it blasts out an email saying,
Hey, is that you?
Hey, what's up? Is this you?
You sure it was you?
That's like some super...
Just checking.
Super security protocols on the Gmail.
Somebody logged in on a Galaxy S7. Do you know who that is?
Somebody logged in on a galaxy far, far away from you.
Who is it? What's up?
See, that's where you need the appropriate Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true, right?
You gotta throw that sound. Well, we'll get sued for that.
We just need a lightsaber.
Disney
or
owns it now, so you can't use any
yeah,
of that
that's
stuff.
true. You can't
get your pantsuit off. Oh, my goodness. I don't normally watch, but there was that show, The Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
I was watching an episode of that.
That's a DC one, right?
Yeah, that's the DC heroes. There's a bunch of, I think they're usually villains. They team up and they're like going across the timeline solving problems. But they had a problem where somebody went back and somehow George Lucas decided to drop out of film school. And
that was seriously one of the timelines?
It seriously ruined the timeline. And they had to go back in time and convince George Lucas to stay in school.
Okay.
Stay in school, kids.
Well, now that we've
wow.
Now that we've given the synopsis of one of those shows, let's get down to real business here. So
real business. That was real business.
You're talking about this, right? The show that we're doing now?
Yeah, the show that we're doing right now, exactly. And
just so I'm clear, that's the real business.
That's the real business.
Okay.
So there's been a wave of terrorism in the world in the last couple of days. It started in Barcelona, Spain. Yesterday we had 3 separate terrorist incidents out there, and that resulted in 13 deaths and 100+ injuries. And then this morning we awoke to the news that Finland was the latest victim in the stream of terrorist attacks, and that so far they've tallied up one death, and I guess it could get worse. And who knows what's going to be tomorrow? You know, I mean, tomorrow's a brand new day, and goodness knows what's coming next. And I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking about all of this.
Yeah, you really can't walk out of your house without thinking about it nowadays. It's really
Jacked up.
it's unavoidable to be something that you think could happen to you.
Yeah, I know we were talking about this before we went on the air this evening, and CJ, you made an interesting kind of wisecrack in that you were saying that you can see that that gun control over there did an excellent job.
Yeah,
of, because the terrorist attack that took place in Finland this morning was a guy running around with a knife.
Yeah, people act like, if you take away guns, it's going to miraculously protect all human beings from any type of violence, and that's simply not the case. It more or less eliminates people's ability to protect themselves from violence.
See, and that's my solution here. Not gun control, by the way, but see, I think that we should just allow everybody to carry a concealed weapon. And I shouldn't, let me rephrase that.
Could always move to Texas.
I don't want to say everybody. I think you should go and have a criminal background check. You should be willing to submit to a criminal background check. Obviously,
Is Texas in the same time zone?
I don't know. Todd's the time zone expert.
Sorry, time
Let's
zone
ask
check.
We need a time zone check sound drop.
Is that
That's
what
we
we
need.
do?
Once every 10 minutes, time zone check.
Yeah, so going back to what I was saying, I think what we need to do is, you can submit to a background check, make sure that, you don't have a criminal past, maybe even a psychiatric evaluation to make sure that you're stable. And, if you pass all of that...
Whoa.
And
This
you
is starting to sound un-American.
Yeah, very much.
If you pass all of that and take some kind of firearms training course so that I'm not worried that you're going to hit something, 50 feet left of what you're aiming at, then you should just be able to get a permit and carry a concealed weapon. Because
you got to push up on that mic, Todd.
I'll tell you what, I don't think we would see that kind of terrorist event that we saw in Barcelona, Spain happen here. I mean, and I'm not saying
to
it wouldn't
be
happen.
fair, the terrorist attacks we've had have been significantly more violent.
Well,
like if you take the San Bernardino situation, they came in with firearms.
Yeah, but imagine if you had like 20 people turn around and start returning fire.
That would have ended that one pretty quick.
Very quickly. And the same thing with these guys driving down the sidewalk, mowing people down. If 6 people turn around and start turning that van into Swiss cheese, it's not gonna, people are still gonna die. Let's face it. These terrorists want to kill somebody. They're gonna find a way to kill somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that any kind of criminal activity proves that. Most of the guns that these crimes are being committed with are already illegal anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
It's not like
if
they
they were
go through
stolen from
legal.
somebody legal, or if maybe the U.S. government gave them away.
I mean, if you
and
go
sent
back
them
to
over
that
there,
San Bernardino incident that you were talking about,
Fantastic
they
Five,
had
what was
some
that called
other guy
again?
go and buy the guns
Furious
for
Five.
them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they anybody that wants
It's
to commit a
not hard to
crime
do.
doesn't really go through legal channels to get the firearms in the
Exactly.
first place.
And then they always want to make sure they get firearms with the serials are all scraped off. So it's not like you preventing me from having one, legally or illegally, is going to stop me. I got to be honest with you. If they outlaw guns, I'm probably going to be a criminal.
Huh?
I'm not going to be one of those dudes who's going to say, okay, I guess
here
it's
you
illegal.
go.
Here's my fire. I'm not that guy. I am not that guy.
And I'm sure millions of people in the middle of the country right now are probably applauding.
I
That Chevelle shouldn't have a gun?
Oh, hey, was that the...
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason why man, I don't know. That's a tough issue. What the heck? Did we get a call?
I think that's the NRA calling right now to congratulate Chevelle.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah, you hit too many buttons on that one. Yeah,
Mashing down all the buttons.
And then when you take the whole terrorism angle in it, anybody who wants to commit an act of terror, they're going to use whatever tools they have available. Because if you take, for instance, the bombing in the Boston Marathon,
Okay.
that was a bomb. I can't go to Walmart and buy a bomb. I can go to Walmart and buy all the parts for a bomb, but I can't go there and buy a bomb. So if somebody wants to do as much destruction as possible, they'll use perfectly legal means, like the car.
Yeah.
Perfectly legal means, and you're basically making it so that the average person can't defend themselves.
Well,
now,
let's
back
face
to
it,
your point
it's-
about
it's
the whole
easier to get a
psychiatric
rental
evaluation.
van. It's easier to
Oh,
get a
yeah,
rental
yeah,
van
for
than it
sure.
is to commandeer an aircraft.
We got a
Yeah.
YouTube comment from Tammy. He says, exactly. Criminals always get guns, so leave innocents unarmed? ? So dumb.
Yeah, I don't like even the background checks, honestly.
Really?
I have reservations about them because as a member of a historically disenfranchised people,
Okay.
I have people in my family and I have friends who have been accused of crimes or something like that, and then as soon as that's on your record, That's it for life. You can't do anything. Or even if you committed the crime, you'd serve the time that you're supposed to serve. It could be a minor thing, felony, or maybe you had a drug addiction or something like that. You kick the habit, and now you're trying to get on with your life. You're not that person anymore, but that follows you for the rest of your life. You don't have the right to vote anymore. You can't get any jobs. Nobody wants to hire you. So they almost relegate you to a life of crime by virtue of the fact that they put all these labels on you and then prevent you from being able to protect yourself.
Well, I see where you're coming from, and I certainly can't argue your point. But on the flip side of that, if we just started handing out these permits wholesale, I'm sure that you'd probably end up with a whole bunch of people that actually have committed violent crimes.
I'm going to go
and
a
you'd be
step
handing
further,
them
Joe.
firearms, a license to carry
I'm
a
going to go a
firearm.
step further.
Okay.
I don't think you should have to get a permit. I think you should. The Constitution says right to bear arms.
Well,
period.
It
doesn't say
says
right
in
to bear
times of
arms.
militia.
Yeah, what are you
What do you
talking
think
about?
this is?
You can go into a Big 5 right now and get a shotgun.
But you have to fill out paperwork. You have to wait a couple of weeks. They do a background check, and you don't get to see.
I thought that was just
firearm.
for a handgun.
It's for all firearms now.
I thought you could
I
go
think
and
they
get like a
just
hunting rifle or a
Nope.
shotgun.
You can't
Yeah,
get
you know what, I was
any
with
kind
you
of
on
gun.
that, Todd.
You can't get
I
any
thought
kind
you
of gun
could-
without a weight at all. They're going to run a background check on it.
CJ might be right, however. He might be right. They might have changed
Come on,
that.
man. This is California. That's how we roll.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, so anyway, I'm not going to ask Chevelle this next question because, we already know where he stands on these subjects anyway. But Todd, how about you? Are you suffering from PTSD these days? Because there is a new form of PTSD that has recently become that people have become aware of, and I'm not talking about post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm talking about President Trump stress disorder.
Yeah, it's certainly a thing. I know my wife, I think, suffers from it daily.
Yeah, apparently some of the symptoms of this PTSD include things like insomnia, hypervigilance, and an inability to tear yourself away from CNN/MSNBC/ whatever your favorite news organization is, because you're just glued to the set waiting to see what dumb thing Trump's going to do next.
Trump's
I don't
Twitter.
know that is a disorder per se, because my wife does that for fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem.
It is in my book, but
That's
she
not
seems to
fun.
be enjoying herself, and she doesn't harass me when I'm watching my anime, so it's all good.
I know your wife, so I'm going to not comment on her habits or behaviors because I don't want her coming to get me later on. But back to the President Trump
Fake
thing.
news.
But back to the President Trump thing. Apparently this is a very, very real phenomenon, and it's not only something that's happening here in the States because, again, as we discussed in previous episodes, there are people in other countries, some of our allies, as a matter of fact, as well as other countries that we really don't have any diplomatic relations with, that are very concerned as to what our president is going to do next. And, of course, in the latest news, there's all the discussion about his complete and total incompetence. And people with... So, now that I think about it, maybe giving people concealed weapons isn't such a good idea if they're all suffering from PTSD.
I know there were... Just today, they're talking about him losing another cabinet member. It seems like they're all jumping ship like rats.
Oh, well, yeah, most of his committees have been disbanded now because they all stepped away in the wake of his wait-and-see attitude. I'm going to try and be diplomatic about it. His wait-and-see attitude as to what he was going to say in the wake of the Charlotte violence.
Yeah, because what he was saying, nobody seemed to like.
Well, I know we were going to get into that in right after the break, and I don't want to go too far too fast
So
here.
let me ask you. You say you've got the PTSD?
To some degree, I think I do. I sit there and wait. It's almost like when I get up in the morning, I'm a big fan of news in general, and I enjoy listening to talk radio. And I can see Todd making funny faces. Terrestrial radio? Who the heck listens to AM? I remember that conversation from a week or two ago.
AM.
But I get up in the morning and pick up
Is
my
that
phone.
around midnight a.m.?
Yeah. I pick up
who listens
my
to
phone
that?
and look at the news feeds that are coming in, and as I'm going through the phone, I'm sitting there thinking, I wonder what Trump has stepped in this time. I mean, that's
But to
generally
be
the
fair,
thought that's in
though,
my mind.
I mean, it's nice to have the PTSD because his name is Trump, and it makes for an easy acronym. But the exact same thing happened for the 8 years before Trump. It was just on a different news station.
I don't think that it was
It
nearly. I don't think that
absolutely
people were
was.
freaking out.
No, and I'm going to
about
tell you
what
how
Obama
I think
was
about this.
doing.
I was thinking about this earlier today.
Okay.
You have America, and you have these like parentheses, right?
Okay.
The states that are on those outside parentheses are the ones that are freaking out. Everything inside, you have parentheses, the word America, then you have the closed parentheses. America is not tripping. The parentheses are tripping. Everybody along the coast are the ones who are having an issue right now. Everybody else is not really that worried about it.
Even when Trump tweets something like "Kufefe" or whatever that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that a couple weeks ago?
But see, people, I don't know. It's why do people feed into this? The man is clearly like he lives for attention. He does everything he does to get both attention and power. So why are they feeding into this? My feeling is that they're all kind of in this together. It's just them playing the game, and they're getting their little content. They get to push whatever their agenda is, and they just throw him out there, and he's getting the attention that he wants. Everybody's winning, except America. America's the one that's losing in this.
But you don't think that he's part of that problem? You don't think
No.
he's the major part of that problem?
And this is why I've always said what I say about Trump. I
Okay.
think Trump is the best thing that could have happened to America this past election. And the reason is it is forcing Americans to really take a serious look at him. And when we get to the Charlotte issue, that's evidence of exactly what it is I'm talking about. People are starting to take off their masks both on the left and the right, extreme left and extreme right to be more specific, and showing
You
how
mean
they
the
really
alt
feel.
left and the alt right.
Yeah, they're I mean there's
As it's being
quacks
called
on
now.
all sides.
See, but here's the thing: I don't see how this is actually a good thing for America, even under your model, because the alternative to Trump was
Would be
Hillary
Hillary
Clinton,
Clinton, which
and most
I think would be
everybody
far worse.
Well, yeah, see, everybody seems to feel that way, and so they went with Trump. But what I'm getting at is, having placed him in office, okay, we didn't end up with Hillary, but we really didn't end up that much better off. And it's not
But what
changing.
are we doing, though? What are we doing?
It's not changing.
Yes, it is changing.
No.
It is.
The group of politicians that are running the country, they're not learning anything from this. And,
But
and
they are
quite
being
frankly,
exposed.
neither is the average American, because I
I don't
guarantee
agree
you
with that.
3 years from now, when we go to elect our next president, we may not reelect Trump, but we're not really going to go out of our way to find some candidate who isn't one of the business as usual people.
And then,
Tammy
and then
comments.
but then whose fault is it? Because right now, this is America's touchstone moment. This is the point where you either stand up or sit down and
But that's
shut
my
up.
point. I don't think anybody's learning anything from this, and I think
But
they're all going to be
I don't-
all too
I don't think that's
happy
the case.
to go to business as usual after this debacle.
I think the fact that these conversations are happening is proof that people are learning something. The question isn't whether or not they're learning. The question is, what are they going to do now that they have learned this? Now that they have been exposed to the reality of what America really is. Now they've been exposed. They act like these divides among these different cultures are brand new and they exist because of Trump. No, that is not the case. They have been here for years and years and years. And through the past 8 years of Obama, he basically was just throwing out little stuff to all these little groups. And some of these little groups felt really emboldened. And now you got a president who says, yeah, screw you. And they're like, what? And they're all freaking out. Your agenda is not his agenda. Sorry, you lose. Game over.
Tammy says, no, he's working hard. He's getting attacked by idiots mad they lost the election.
I think he's working hard, all right, to finish taking the country apart.
But then the other side of what you're saying is that you have the status quo politicians. And I think that's another thing that Americans hopefully are learning, because they're seeing that you have a person who came in and said he was going to change everything. And I think he has. I'm not going to say it's for the better. But what he has changed and what he has managed to do is completely expose not only the left, but the right. And the fact that none of them have any interest in doing what is right for the people. None of them.
I liken Trump's presidency to a game of 52 pickup. Has any of you guys ever played that game?
I never called it a game. I called it a really bad joke that my friends used to play on me.
Yeah,
when I
well,
was a
that's
kid.
pretty much what the Trump presidency is. A really bad joke that the country played on us, on everybody.
But afterward, you were woke, though, huh? You only had to play that game one time. And you're like, I'm not doing this
yeah,
again.
and Todd
Oh my
Todd
God,
does not.
You're woke.
Woke.
Up.
Todd doesn't even
I
know
had
what we're
to fit that
talking
in
about
somewhere.
here. You never played?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You do? Yeah.
It's more of an accident than a game.
No, I think the one time that I got suckered into it was far from an accident. The person that did it knew exactly what they were doing. I was the only clueless guy. I'm guessing that Chevelle had the same experience.
Yeah.
Isn't that just somebody throwing a deck of cards at your face?
Not at your face. It's just up in the
Is that
air.
how they
Yeah.
played it in your house?
Apparently, you had a completely
Apparently, you
different.
played it with people who did not like
you
you
played
at
with
all.
bullies. Yeah.
I don't think they were playing with you. They were playing
wasn't
at
at
you.
you.
That wasn't it?
No.
There you go.
That's why I don't play any sports.
Sounds getting too rough for me.
Oh man, that's
I
terrible.
thought they were all like that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that I think is really the situation when it comes to Trump. I don't think that the country is actually learning anything other than that they're sorry they put him in office.
I don't think they're sorry.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think there are a lot of people, and this is something that I was saying before Trump got elected, because they kept saying, "Oh, we just need to sway these people who are going to vote for Trump." No, the people who were the groundswell behind Trump during that entire process, there was no way you were going to turn them to any other candidate. No way. Those were the same people who were going for the Tea Party movement. Those are the same people who are going for, if you can go all the way back to Ross Perot, they're always looking for that alternative to the status quo. And Trump was the one person who had the resources and the gall to stand up and say what everybody else was saying. And I'm not going to say everybody else, everybody inside America, because the folks in the parentheses weren't saying that stuff. America was saying it.
So
the
you're
parentheses
saying
weren't saying
East
it.
and West Coast are the parentheses, huh?
That's where you're finding all the people. I mean, when you got a bus, and this, we could say that for later.
Yeah, you know what?
But yeah.
We gotta take a break, and then when we come back, we got more. I've got more to discuss about the Trump situation. I actually want to lace into you a little bit more, and I'm sure that Todd does too. Hey,
Tammy
Todd, weren't you
says,
gonna?
No, not Ross Perot. He was dumb.
Nah, Ross Perot was kind of dope. I dug that dude.
Todd, weren't you going
Yeah,
to
those
throw out
big
some
ears.
interesting facts and things this evening?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, you
Let's
forgot
take
all
them
about
after the
that.
break. Let's
okay.
start off after
Well,
the break.
we're going to come back right after this, but before we disappear completely, Malibu Film Festival's films, charity events, and special programs continue to evolve in support of the arts in your community. You can help by becoming a sponsor of the Malibu Film Festival. Donate at malibufilmfestival.com/donate.
Dude.
That's malibufilmfestival.com/donate.
That came out of left field. You got a Warner brother.
What?
You start going into ad mode.
I was like, whoa.
Whoa.
Hey, we got
This
sponsors.
AM? This is AM.
We got sponsors, you know. Anyway, we'll be back right here, right after this on Around Midnight with the Local Boys. All right. We're back here on Around Midnight with the Local Boys. You got myself, Joe Carbonetta, alongside CJD and Todd Fluker answering the phones tonight, as well as throwing in his 2 cents in Around Midnight Orange. That's what we're going to call that now. Around Midnight Orange. I like that.
Works for me.
All right. So, Todd, you were going to chuck some questions at us this evening so that Chevelle and I could determine whether or not we should be deported.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? I didn't know I was going to actually be tested on anything.
I didn't have my Cheerios this morning.
Right.
Maybe you want to give a little bit of background on this. You don't have to go into complete detail, but you know what we're doing here this evening.
Yeah, I have my wife. You know, she's
Foreign?
foreign.
Okay.
So she's,
My wife
we're,
is foreign.
We're really gonna go there. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why
I think
not?
all of us have foreign wives.
Yeah, it's funny how that worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, she's gonna become a citizen mostly because she suffers from the PTSD, as we mentioned
Like,
before.
and
it's
somehow
time for me to do something. I'm outraged.
Becoming a citizen's gonna make
Really?
that better.
In that
I would have
last-
thought she would be trying to get the heck out of here.
during that last election, she would not let me back in the house if I didn't show up with a "I voted" sticker, so that she could make sure there was one more vote against Trump. But it didn't really make a difference, as it turns out.
Okay.
Okay, well, it didn't make a difference in California.
Yeah, in California, it was already predetermined
Come on.
who was going to win California.
Yeah,
But
isn't there that whole conversation now about how they're still trying to get California to secede from the union? And one of they're trying to use it as a bargaining chip. By the way, one of the things they want to do is restructure the electoral college so that we actually do make a difference over here, since we are one of the most populous states in the nation. That they want us to actually have some kind of influence in the presidential elections. Anyway,
Boo.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Because, yeah, California is just kind of the period at the end of the election that really doesn't make a difference.
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't see how being any earlier is going to make a difference. It doesn't matter when people vote. It's really only because everybody can see everybody else voting that it's an issue.
I
They think that
suppose.
people are staying at home, but a blue state's a blue state. The coasts are always
Yeah.
blue, with a couple of exceptions.
But anyway, she's going to try to become an actual citizen.
Wait, does she have
Good-
flashcards?
and as
for
it
this?
For her.
turns
Good
out-
for her. All right.
We have some flashcards. There's a test you take for your citizenship
Oh, snap.
that
We should have had like the national anthem playing in the background or something, you know?
contains one.
I got crickets.
Well, it doesn't contain 100
That's not
questions. There's a possibility of 10 of 100 different questions you are going to be asked.
Okay.
Wait. 10 out of... You're going to get
Yeah,
10
there are
of
100 possible questions. You're only going to get asked 10 of them, and you need to at least get 6 of them right.
Oh, boy.
So, let's go ahead and do 5 now, and then maybe we'll do 5 later.
All right.
Oh, man.
So,
I don't think this is going to go well for me.
let's find a good one. Who is one of your state's U.S. senators now?
Who is one of the U.S.? Who is one
Who's
of our?
your? Yeah, it's some of the questions are generic because they're for the entire country,
Right.
and then you kind of have to fill it in for your state.
No Google.
Okay. I'm not. I was looking for the national anthem here, actually.
Yeah, anyone?
Kamala Harris.
There you go.
Yeah, that's one of them. Or Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah, Feinstein.
Okay.
Feinstein needs
I
to
think
go. She's
Chevelle
been
got
there
it right.
way
This
too long.
this is
man.
proving harder than I thought to actually find the national anthem.
That's because Google is leftist.
And then they give you some softball questions. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States?
The Indian
The
Ocean.
Pacific.
No, that's... Oh, wait.
Did you really
West Coast.
you really answered that? Oh my goodness.
No.
Never eat shredded wheat. That's how you know.
Oh wait, I think I got something here. Let's see.
Who? What?
You guys don't do that?
No.
Remember north, east, south, west?
No, I just say north, east, southwest.
Never south. Never eat shredded wheat.
Okay, you keep saying that, man. Wow, that is weird. Where did you get that from?
I don't know. It's just one of those things you picked up. Okay,
Wow.
and then
They
they
stood
have
out.
some of these questions are a little too generic in that you're really not sure how to answer them. What did the Declaration of Independence do?
What did the Declaration of Independence do? All right. Go ahead, CJ. You take this one while I try and connect this here so that we can.
Egads. It declared our independence, hence the name Declaration of Independence from British tyranny.
From the British. Correct.
Yeah.
Britain
Yeah, I'm kinda
Ironic
curious to know
how that
your
one works
wife
out.
felt about that one.
being it's that we're the colonists.
Yeah. Take that. Oh, don't
Seriously,
tell me.
where's the headphone connection on this?
Oh, brother. We
How
are technology
old do your
deficient.
citizens have to be to vote for president?
18.
Wait, what? What was the
Yeah,
question?
18 or older.
Okay.
Name one of the 2 longest rivers in the United States.
Los Angeles.
Mississippi.
The L.A. River.
The Colorado and
No,
Mississippi.
The homeless
Or
people.
is it the
broke
Rio
that up.
Grande? Is it with Rio? I always want to say Colorado.
What? Rio Grande?
I think the Colorado runs into Rio Grande, right? Or is Rio Grande just like a name for the Colorado? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking
Anyway,
about.
Mississippi and the
This
Colorado.
says Mississippi or Missouri.
Missouri River.
That's what this says.
Wow, what's up with that weird noise though?
I don't know.
It's
It's
a
a,
weird-
You're
Yeah,
Jackson.
turn
Jack.
that off. That sounds like crap.
oh, here we go. There we
There
go.
you go.
Yeah,
All
poor
right,
there we
ground.
go.
All right.
Why does the flag have 13 stripes?
They ran out of yarn. Wait, that's not it?
No, that's not the reason.
And I don't know if it's made of yarn.
What? Didn't that girl, Diana Ross,
That
made it, right?
girl? Yeah.
Diana Ross.
What you want?
Right.
Wait, that's not Diana Ross. That was Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, her.
Yeah. No, Aretha Franklin wrote the national anthem.
13 stripes.
13 colony states. The
13
first
original
13
colonies.
Yeah, those are 13 original colonies. That's right.
All right, let's do one more. That's a good one. Who is the governor of your state right now?
No, that's Jerry
I got
Brown.
a couple of names
That's-
for him, but I'm not allowed to use them.
Yeah, that's Jerry Brown. That's it. And he's taking that bullet train and ramming it down everybody's throat. Yeah, it's kind of hard to not know who the governor is right now.
I don't know. I wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't have known the answer to that one? Oh, come on.
okay.
It
Seriously?
looks like Moonbeam. What the heck? You got to check out the live chat. Tammy's
Yeah.
on a roll here, man.
Yes, she's a.
Moonbeam? What?
When was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
1976.
Oh, you mean 1776?
77.
76.
Isn't
July
that
4th.
Are we?
4th
Well,
of
that
July,
that date is actually
1776.
arguable. There's some discussion that says it was probably July 3rd, but they needed something. Governor Moonbeam. Tammy's tripping.
Yeah, I don't get the Governor Moonbeam.
Because he's
That was
pie in the
his-
sky quackpot guy.
His hippie nickname?
Oh, yeah.
She also says, she asked, doesn't marrying you make your wife a citizen?
No, it does not.
Wow. So it makes you a
She
legal
it makes
resident
you
alien.
legalized permanent, legal resident.
Yeah, you're
but not,
able
not
to
citizen.
apply for citizenship.
You're a resident alien.
Anyway, you wanna
Okay.
keep going with these?
All right, no, let's save some for later on. That was interesting. All right, let's get rid of that now.
Oh, there's plenty to go around.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fascinating.
I was drilling some of those with her, and some of those are just kind of so generic. It's like, what are the responsibilities of the U.S. of the federal government? I'm like,
Make sure the mail shows up on time. Or not.
To provide for the common defense.
Yeah, it was like creating armies, printing money, and I don't
And
know,
give me
making
my mail.
treaties or something like that.
Get me
Yeah,
my
Some of
papers.
this stuff is so generic sounding. Anyway,
To guarantee that I always have access to cheeseburgers and French fries.
cheddar ducks.
I don't know about the cheddar ducks. Okay, so now we're going to discuss Trump again.
Oh, boy.
And here's I was waiting for Friday to come along just so I could.
You've been foaming at the mouth.
I have
Can I
for
just
this.
go over my cards?
because
a little bit
know,
more?
and I hesitate to bring this up, but I'm still wondering how you can be a Trump supporter in the wake
Oh,
of
okay,
everything that
okay.
happened in with the Charlotte incident, because he basically said that there are good people in the Klan.
I think there's probably some good people in the Klan.
You have got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. There's good people
That'll
all
be
over
the
the
day.
place. There's a lot of good people that are totally misguided. There were probably some good Nazis. They're just a bunch of jack. and so
That's
You
I
are
was
you as
talking
bad
about
as
that.
Trump. You are
No,
really going to
no.
ride this thing right down into the
No,
ground.
And
I was talking about that as well. Because people are talking about taking down these monuments.
And I'm totally okay with that.
I'm not.
And partially, I'm thinking, yes, does it immediately make you an evil person and a monster in the eyes of history that you were in the Confederate Army?
I
don't
think it
that's the
should.
case.
See, here's my thing on that. All right, I'm not gonna say that I understand completely the whole thing about slavery. I mean, I was never a slave, and as a white person, it was probably not something I would have had to face even in those times. So I can't really. I can't sit here and pretend to completely identify with that. As a human being today, I'm still appalled at the idea of slavery. I don't understand how that ever was deemed socially acceptable. I don't care what color you are.
I can answer that question for you really easy. It's always been economic.
But well,
America
okay,
always.
didn't
that,
invent slavery.
no, but that aside,
They did perfect it,
here's
though.
here's my problem with the Confederate Army and those soldiers. We have completely discounted the fact that these people committed treason. They basically formed an army and started a war against our own government for the purpose of keeping these slaves.
You
because
can't call it treason, and it was about more than slavery. I don't want to say
no, you're right. It was about more than slavery. What it was about money, because they wanted
it
to
was
be able
about more
to
than
keep
money.
those people and force them to work for them for nothing so that they could all get rich. And this is where Trump fits right into that, because he's a businessman that only sees green and doesn't really seem to care who gets stepped on, how, or why, as long as his bottom line keeps getting bigger.
No, that is absolutely patently false. And I have a problem with that, because when that becomes a story, then you can't actually have an honest discussion. When you villainize everybody on the other side, that's when you end up with situations like Charlotte. You have to be able to see how these other people feel. And until you can do that, you're never going to be able to have an honest discussion.
I'm never going to be able to see how people
and you'll never
thought
have
it
an
was
honest
a good
discussion.
idea.
I'm not
to,
saying
to
there are plenty of
enslave
people.
Other
There are
people.
plenty of people who are Confederates who were nice
Yeah,
to
that's what
slaves.
I
And
think.
again, I don't
There
want
are
to be a
plenty of
slave
people
apologist.
who
but-
just happen to be in that half of the country.
You could be nice
But
to
here,
slaves.
first, let's clear the ground.
how can you
the
be
war
nice
was
to
not
slaves?
just about slavery. The slavery thing was an easy way for them to take a moral high ground. It's always been economic, but more importantly, one of the main issues, if you ask the Confederates of the day, where it was about state rights and the fact that the North was trying to impose certain restrictions on the South.
You mean like
And
the
the
restriction
South-
that you couldn't
Yes,
enslave
such
another
as a
person?
restriction-
Oh my God, that's
such
a
as
terrible
that.
thing.
But and then the other side of it is because they had slaves, their population was smaller because they were outnumbered by their own slaves. Blah 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 blah. But if you want to look in the modern context, it always comes back to how well educated a person is. Because I've seen people. There's one guy who has actually gotten pretty popular on the internet, a black guy, who would go in and deliberately seek out Klan members because a lot of these people just haven't met another black person. They believe all of the stereotypes have been handed down from generation to generation to generation. But if you go up to that person and you just start telling them how much they suck and how evil they are, you've immediately wasted any possible chance of having a conversation. You have to go in there as a human being and be kind. You cannot sit here and say that you're going to take the moral high ground and then say things like what you just said. You can't go in there and say, you guys are stupid. That is the most ignorant thing ever.
I don't
You
recall
can't do
saying
it.
anybody was
I'm
stupid.
not saying you did.
Did you hear that come out of my
But
mouth?
when you
I didn't
sit
say
there
that.
and you say that there's no good people in the Klan, you can't say that. Number one, you don't know anybody in the Klan. And number two, there are people in the Klan who are genuinely good people. Just like I know people that are gang members, but they're not interested in running down the street and killing people. They're just doing something they need to do to survive within their cultural context. So you have to allow people the space to move out of that context so they can experience a different form of life. It's the same situation you have with gangs. Not every black person in the hood is a gang member, but that's what people in the Klan think. And not every person in the Klan is an absolute racist prick. That's what the people in the hood think. You've got to be able to have the middle ground, because at the end of the day, the only ones losing are both the people in the hood and the people in the Klan, because they're both broke and they're both disenfranchised.
You know what? I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not willing to start selling drugs just so I can have a better life while I'm trashing other people's. I'm sorry,
But your life
if you're
is
willing
so much better than anybody
If you're
else.
willing to put a sheet on your head and carry one of, I love this, that they were walking down the street carrying Pier 1 torches. That really, you realize that white guys like you and I, we can't go into Pier 1 and buy tiki torches anymore now.
There are plenty of memes about that.
Yeah,
like, white guy buying tiki torches.
I love the news footage of the one guy hitting. His was red. That was hilarious. Got the designer model, but I guess it was the only one left on the shelf. But I digress.
Tammy has a quick.
You can't
quick comment.
put one of those on and say, oh, well, but you know what? I didn't actually hang anybody. I didn't lynch anybody, so I'm actually not as bad. You put on the sheet and you march with the rest of them. I'm sorry. That makes you as bad.
Tammy
in my book.
agrees. She says, no good people in the KKK.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think she said that.
She just said that.
Well, she's wrong. There are, look, if you go into places where you have civil wars, if you go into some of these completely disenfranchised countries, some of these third world countries where people are fighting for survival and that's all they've ever known, they're doing some crazy crap because that's what they've been taught. And all I'm saying is you can't go in there and make a judgment on a person's heart. You don't know why they feel what they feel, and you're really not even clear on what it is they feel. So unless you're willing to go in there and ask them and have a conversation, and then once you've asked, and even if they tell you that I hate you and they've articulated their reasons, if you're not willing to go the extra mile and try to educate them and show them where their position may actually be incorrect, then you are just as wrong as they are, because you're not looking for a solution. You're just looking for another way that you can beat somebody over the head, stick them in the box with whatever little label it is you have, and that's when you end up with a Charlotte situation.
It's kind of like North Korea. At some point, you just can't reason with people anymore.
You can.
At some
You
point,
can.
it is time to just
I'm
get
gonna
the
take
stick
your
and
North
say,
Korea.
"You're wrong."
I'm going to take your North Korean analogy and go further with it.
Okay.
It's not North Korea. It's the leader of North Korea.
Okay.
North Koreans are just people who don't have the information. And that actually is a fault of the government, which is the reason why we ended up with Trump, because everybody treats America like a flyover zone.
So you're telling me that as far as these Klans people are concerned, ignorance makes it okay for them to put on a sheet and march down the street and say white power and all this stuff.
No,
It's like,
I'm not saying that at
You lynched
all.
a couple people, but you were ignorant, so it's okay. We're going to give you a
That's
pass.
not what I'm
I don't
saying.
see that.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is ignorance is the reason they're doing it. I'm not saying it's okay, but until you're willing to step in and fill that gap in their ignorance, you can't sit there and take the high ground. You have to make the effort to go in there and effectively change how a person feels before you can accuse them of not even being willing to change. You haven't taken that step.
Okay, all right, Mr. Answerman. How do you go in to a group of Klan people and get them to see that just because someone has a different color skin doesn't make them of lower value?
You have a conversation, and some people are not going to want to talk, but you keep trying. I mean, the only example that I can give you is Jesus Christ. He did it all day, every day for the 3 years of his ministry. He walked around with people who hated him, wanted him dead, and eventually killed him. But what he did changed the world for the better since his life, death, and resurrection. The world is a better place because of him.
And now
The
we
world
have
is a better
President Trump.
place because of Martin Luther King. He didn't go and smack people in the head. He didn't call people names. The world's a better place because he went in and showed, yes, we are people. And he gave his life for it. The problem with America isn't that there are ignorant people. The problem with America is that people are no longer brave. And they're too much of a coward to go in and put their lives on the line to make it better for the next generation.
So you
We're
want
too
us-
worried about whether we can get the next iPhone to actually say, hey, you know what? My kid might not even be able to have a country, let alone an iPhone, because I'm too selfish to maintain what we have.
So you want to raise a nation of martyrs to combat the ignorant.
No, I don't want to raise a nation of martyrs, and that is a very obtuse opinion. What I'm saying is I, as an individual, have the ability, and I would go so far as to say the moral obligation to reach out and demonstrate kindness to a person to show them that what you think I am is not what I am. And until you are willing to engage with me on an individual human level, you will never understand who I am, and I will never understand who you are, and we will never reach a different conclusion. People don't do that anymore. They come out and start shouting at each other from the very beginning. At some point, somebody's got to, it all comes back to pride at the end of the day. And this is part of the reason why Trump finds himself in the situation he's in. He's too proud to say when he's wrong. He's too proud to say when it is he should have acted and when he shouldn't acted. He's instead going to tweet and blame it on somebody else. And that's the reason why he's experiencing the problems he has. And I would say it's not just Trump, it's everybody else up on Capitol Hill.
Wow. Okay. Well, we definitely got to come back because I'm really kind of curious to know what it is you think about his statement that there was wrong on both sides.
I agree.
No, don't. I don't. Well, I didn't want you to answer
I'll
that
tell
till we
you
come
why
back from
in
the
a
break.
minute.
All right, we'll be back right after this on Around Midnight with this very and hey, Fluker, you didn't say anything about this.
Because I'm too loud and greedy with the microphone.
Tammy has a lot to say about it.
Okay.
Says can't argue with the Jesus and MLK card.
Mic drop.
So I'm sorry. Is she now leaning toward that there are good people in the KKK?
More after the break.
Yeah, we'll be back right after this on Around Midnight.
Definitely not.
All right, Malibu Film Festival's films, charity events, and special programs continue to evolve in support of the arts in your community. You can help by becoming a sponsor of the Malibu Film Festival. All you've got to do is donate at malibufilmfestival.com/donate. That's malibufilmfestival.com/donate. And we are back right here on Around Midnight. I am Joe Carbonetta alongside Todd Fluker and CJ Devine, who was in the process of telling me how there are good people on both sides of the melee that took place earlier this, it was more like last week, but...
Riot.
Yeah, at that riot. But before we even get into that, hey, Todd, I think it's time for you to sprinkle a few more of those wonderful little tidbits of information.
Hey, we got our homeboy Isaac in the house.
Oh, Isaac, how are you doing tonight?
What's up, Isaac? Isaac, do you know the Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution? Name one of the writers.
Wow. Okay, I got to admit, I don't know this one.
Yeah, they got some deep
John
cuts.
Adams. Is that his name?
Nope.
John?
Nope.
Okay, Benjamin Franklin.
Nope.
I'm
Thomas
glad you didn't
Jefferson.
say Sam Adams. I would have been really worried if
Sanford
you said Sam
and
Adams.
Sam Jackson. No. James Madison
Yeah, that's the one.
Alexander
I said Adams, didn't
Hamilton.
I? That's what I said.
and John Jay.
John
John
Jay
Jay.
what?
Jingleheimer Schmidt. Never mind.
Why do some states have more representatives than other states?
Because they are more populous. They have a larger population base.
Yeah, that's an easy one. You know,
Oh.
you can even just get that.
I thought
from-
they had more guns.
Yeah, they're like, we getting more
Because they have more money to
representatives.
buy
We
more
representing up in
politicians.
here. Name
That's
one.
Todd's urban voice.
Name one branch or part of the government.
Legislative, executive.
Judicial.
There you go.
The president,
That's the
Congress.
executive branch is the president.
Yeah, he's the head of it. I don't know. This one.
You said name a branch, not an individual.
It's an or part.
Ugh.
I don't know, man.
Okay, all right, all right.
I'm just reading
I
the
don't know.
cards, yo. I
Okay.
didn't make the questions.
All right, what's next?
When must all men register for selective service?
AJT.
When they feel like it. Because it's not required.
Yes, it is.
It's a false law. It's fake pretense. And I think it's just... Okay.
When did the colonists fight the British?
Last week?
Or wait, no, it says why. Sorry. Not
Why?
when. Why? Why did the colonists fight the British?
Because the
'Cause
rent
of
was
tea,
too damn
yo.
high.
Too damn high.
Because of tea, yo.
They were trying to push their teas on us.
No,
Taxation without representation.
exactly.
High taxes. And the British Army was staying up in our cribs, yo.
Yeah, so take your tea and
I
crumpets.
want your wife to go in there and answer it just like that.
Take your tea and crumpets and stuff them.
Stuff your scrumpets.
You guys are weird.
What group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves?
Uh-oh.
What group was that, guys?
I don't know. I'm going to say Portuguese.
It's just that was a point of contention because I was talking to my wife earlier we were talking about this Charlotte stuff and the Nazis and the KKK, and she said something like, "Oh yeah, they're going over there and capturing all the black people and using them as slaves." I was like, "Didn't they purchase the slaves? They were actually bought from Africans."
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true. That's an
And I was like,
often overlooked
yeah,
aspect
it's-
of the whole slavery
It's
thing.
something that gets overlooked a little bit, but you know, maybe we don't really want to go around.
Nah, yeah, it's a,
They were selling their own people. Let's just gloss over that.
okay.
Black on black crime, y'all.
So
One reason the colonists came to America. Just one.
Religious freedom.
Let me consult Neil Diamond on that one.
Religious freedom escaped from, was it the tax prisons of the time? What do they call that? They call them tax
Persecution?
prisons.
I don't know, but
You would get imprisoned if you didn't pay your taxes. I think that's what they were called, tax
because they were tired of playing with hay pennies. That's why.
What?
Hay penny. Yeah, that was a
Old British money.
yeah
It was like
half. It was half of a cent.
sixpence and yeah, all that crap.
A hay penny was half a cent.
Oh, my
Anyway,
goodness.
so going back to the Trump thing now. Thank you, Todd, for
Name
more.
one U.S. territory.
Somebody stop him.
This
So-
is a good one.
Guam.
Guam.
Okay.
Marianas.
Guam was just being almost threatened.
What was it? Is it Mariana?
One of the other
Mariana
US
Islands? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Northern Mariana
Yeah,
Islands.
Northern Mariana is Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico.
U.S. Virgin Islands and American Samoa.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We need to get back into this Trump thing because we've only got a few minutes left here.
we don't want to miss out on
And,
more Trump
yeah,
talk.
because I also wanted to cover the fact that the cries are growing louder and louder in Washington and around the country that Trump is actually completely incompetent in the presidency and probably should never have been placed in office. And CJ, I already know that you're going to say that they're wrong because we're just rushing to judgment against Trump now.
No,
also,
I wouldn't say we're rushing to judgment. I wouldn't
despite
say
the fact
at
that
all.
he's been inserting his foot in his mouth in just about every way possible.
No, I don't think we rushed to judgment at all. I think we have reached just the right amount of judgment.
All right. So are you in agreement that he is actually not fit for the job?
No, I don't think he's not fit for the job. I think he's just as fit as anybody else. I think that I would say maybe he does not fit in the job, but I don't think that he is not fit. A lot of people want to believe that Trump is stupid. A lot of people want to believe that Trump is malicious. I believe
Some
that Trump
people want to
simply
believe
is
that
not.
he's a white supremacist in
Yeah,
the
some
closet.
people want to believe that. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
What I believe is that he's just not playing the game by their rules, and they don't know what to do with them.
Interesting. Todd, what about you?
I mean, Trump is all right. Nah, actually, he isn't. He's terrible. He's pretty awful. I mean,
Okay.
what is the point? People don't want to work with him. Have we ever had someone in office that has been so abrasive that people around
Well,
the
you-
world are talking about how
Yeah.
terrible he is. People in the cabinet are leaving for various reasons.
Here's the thing that I
Or being
find
told to leave.
most disturbing about him is that he's running the country like he ran The Apprentice.
Yes.
He just walks around going, "You're fired."
Yeah,
I
is
don't,
that
I don't see the problem
allowed?
with that. Actually, yeah, it is.
And then he's tweeting out laws. He's saying, no more Muslims in the country.
Yeah, see, that's another.
and then leaving that and then going on a 14-day golf vacation.
Yeah. Oh, what's really amusing about that is he spent so much time complaining about the number of trips that President Obama took
yeah.
during his 8 years in
That
office.
was his
and
exact
yeah, and how much
quote.
money that was spent there. And
You know, hey,
Trump has already eclipsed that in
If
6
it was
months.
me, I would be working hard for the American people. If it was me in office, that's what I would be doing. I don't know, but hey, I guess he can do his thing and I can do my thing.
That's,
See, now
wow.
you're on
Yeah,
axis.
you're like off axis with that microphone, Todd. I don't know what you did there, but
Hold on.
so
I think we got a call.
Todd is like, it was like drunk Trump. I like that. We're
Drunk
gonna start.
Trump?
Yeah, we're gonna
Todd,
start
you're
doing a
drunk
segment
Trump?
called Drunk Trump. We actually have a telephone
I
call.
think
Is that what
Drunk
you said?
Trump does his own segment. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning in the form of a
Oh,
tweet.
sorry. Call back, person who just called.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, I was trying to set it up because you guys pulled my cord.
No, you pulled the cord and handed.
No,
oh,
you pulled.
I
Chevelle
pulled
Oh,
pulled
it
the
was,
cord.
it was Chevelle.
Totally me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
CJ,
We don't have enough put-ins.
All right, bring it up.
is it ringing again?
Yeah, there's somebody totally on the line. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi, it's Tammy.
hi, Tammy. How are you tonight?
Good. Joe, you're making me so mad.
I'm making you
are,
mad.
Like,
Tammy got
you
tired of me
are
not
a
reading her
watcher
comments.
Of fake news.
Fake
You do
news.
not, you do
Stop it
not
with the fake
even
news,
listen
guys.
to the entire press conferences. Like, watch the whole press conference of the president. And
No.
it is not that he's going around firing people. No, listen. He's not going around firing people. The reason why people don't want to work with him is because they will be crucified by the media. Can you blame them? Their families get doxxed. Their kids. Just today, somebody's kid got like outed, and they put out the kid's name and information, the man's address, and all of that. The people on the left are mad that they lost the election. They're trying to bring him down by any means necessary, and they're doxing people. I mean,
so
if
you're-
you want to work, it would take a very brave person to work for that administration.
So you're going to really stick to your guns and suggest that the reason that
No,
Trump is always
Joe,
being attacked in the
address what I
media
said.
is strictly
It's-
because
no,
of
Joe.
other people, not because of his own actions and his own statements.
He is governing. He has passed so many laws. Like, there have been good laws that he's passed. There's huge lists of them. All you have to do is do a little search, and you will find that he's done tons. He's had tons of accomplishments in his first 6 months. Tons.
And yet,
That's not on Daily Coat.
there are
or
several
whatever that is.
Republicans and Democrats who have gone on record as saying that he's done more to cause unrest and to cause diversity in the nation
Like
than
what?
any president before him.
Not
Just-
diversity, division.
Name
Division,
It, what?
that's it,
Name
thank you,
what
division.
he's
Diversity is
done
definitely
to
not
cause-
right.
Why, Joe?
Well, let's-
because he does not want to allow terrorists into
because
the country,
because
and
it
so he
takes
wants
him
to
2.5
put
or
a
3 days
120-day
to
ban.
condemn the type of violence that just took place in Charlotte, where you
He
have a bunch
did
of white
condemn
supremacists.
it. You're
It took him
listening to
3
the wrong
days to decide to
places,
do
Joe.
that. How does it?
He did
It shouldn't.
condemn it.
It didn't
He
need
did condemn
3
it, Joe.
days.
You are listening to the wrong sources, Joe. He did condemn it over and over and over again.
Only after
CNN
3
listen to me.
days. I can't
CNN
get past
pulls
the
out
3 days.
15 seconds. CNN pulls out 15 seconds of the press conference, and they will not show you the rest, where he says there are bad people in the KKK, and there were bad people also in Antifa who brought weapons. They took the weapons away from the people on the right, and they allowed Antifa. They stood down. The cops stood down and allowed Antifa to bring bags of urine and throw it on the people on the right. As abhorrent as the KKK is, Joe, you do not bring weapons and violence to protest. You don't do it. Those
I'm not
people
going to
are
argue
horrible.
that. I'm not going to argue that. But still, for
you.
him to take 3 days to condemn the violence,
He
I
did
don't-
not.
I-
he
I-
did it the same day. You're wrong. You're wrong, Joe. You're listening to the wrong people. He
I
did it
heard
the
his
same
initial
day.
statement, and he was very
He did it
far
on Saturday
from
when it
condemning
happened. He
the
did-
people.
Joe, you're wrong. Joe, you're wrong. He did it on Saturday when it happened. He did it. He had a conference on Sunday, and he came out on Monday. 3 days he talked about it from the first day that it happened. You
And,
are wrong.
and yet
You're
he
listening
refused
the
to
wrong
acknowledge the
sources,
white
Joe.
supremacists for 3 days.
What?
He refused to acknowledge the white supremacists
That's a lie.
for 3 days.
That is a lie. On Sunday, he came out the next day after the event. He came out during a news conference and he said, I condemn. He gave a statement and said, I condemn, and he called them out by name. You're listening to the wrong sources. They are liars, Joe. They have an agenda, and they have something they want you to believe, and you are falling for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Well, clearly Tammy
You
is
gotta
one of the
read
fake
other
news
sources. Read other sources,
supporters.
Joe.
So, okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your opinion this evening. We do
I
appreciate
love
that.
you both, Joe. I still love you. I'm just very passionate.
All right. Well, thank you again for your call.
Okay,
We do
bye-bye.
appreciate it. Have a good night.
Getting hot.
There you go. Oh,
She sounded like a foreigner.
what?
I wouldn't trust her.
I'm not even
Me
gonna.
personally.
I'm not going there, and I'm not touching that.
putting my
Yay! Our
lips on it.
second successful call.
Hey, yeah, that's right, huh?
Is it only 2?
It's only two successful calls,
Oh.
and I think it's safe to say. Didn't we have the same problem the last time too, where the call came in initially and we didn't manage to get it on the air, but they called
Yeah,
back and
because it's the Google Voice thing. Because you don't just have to answer it; you got to answer
Stop
it.
giving away
and
all of
then
our secrets,
punch a
Todd.
thing and a thing.
Stop.
I'm doing a bunch of stuff over here.
Couldn't you just blame it on the equipment? But
I'm reading cards. I'm cutting
the
cameras.
generic equipment. I mean,
cut.
all right. Well, yeah.
Oh,
so
brother. Well, that was an interesting show.
it was definitely a very
We should call it a
interesting
Trump extravaganza.
Name one problem that led to the Civil War.
The black
show.
problem.
Slavery?
Slavery. Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't the blacks?
No, it wasn't the blacks.
Economic rights and economic reasons and states' rights.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well,
What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
We don't really pay any attention to
The
them.
Bill
I think
of
we
Rights.
I think we call them a
They call it
paperweight.
the Bill of Rights.
No, a paperweight,
Yeah.
because we've dismissed them
Call
all.
it toilet paper.
All right. I gotta get this.
We
this
call it
last
the
thing out
plot
here.
line for a Nick movie.
This
What's that
is
guy's name? Nicolas
Cage.
Cage movie.
It's been another exciting episode of Around Midnight right here with the local boys, Joe Carbonetta, CJD, and Todd Fluker. For all of us and for Mixified, thank you very much for watching tonight. We hope you're going to be with us next Friday night when I'm sure we'll manage to alienate some other viewer. In the meantime, however, our producers want us to point out now that the views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect or represent those of Mixified, its producers, staff, or sponsors. All materials contained within the show are for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered advice or instruction of any kind.
It's definitely not any kind of instruction.
That's right. Don't listen to Chevelle's roadmap for anything. Anyway, we'll be back next
You'll
Friday
get far
night.
in life.
Oh,
Listen to everything I say.
we'll be back next Friday night, right here on Mixify. Todd wanted me to say one thing, that the show's Around Midnight. Mixified is our parent company. And anyway, stay Mixified. We'll see you next Friday night.